Brian Doan, Sam Hellman, Fox Sports Next, ScarletReport.com. Just an emotional press conference involving Rutgers President Barchi, Board of Governors Chairman Izzo. Tim Pernetti out, resigned as athletic director at Rutgers in the Mike Rice scandal. And Sam, let's just get right down to it. When I'm listening to President Barchi talk about why he made this decision and why Tim Pernetti is no longer the athletic director, it comes down to one thing. He did not trust Tim Pernetti's judgment. He thought that Mike Rice should have been fired the moment Tim Pernetti viewed the DVD that's in question of Mike Rice physically and verbally abusing players and also using homophobic slurs. To me, it's a situation where Barchi wanted Tim Pernetti to handle things. You know, athletics is what, 5% of what you do as a university president and 5% of the university. If he does not have that trust that Tim Pernetti can make the right decisions, he cannot have Tim Pernetti running the athletic department.
Right. Whether you believe it or not, Robert Barchi's stance is that Tim Pernetti lost his trust, and they had a very differing view of what was right and what was wrong in this situation. My question is, Tim Pernetti lost his trust. What about everyone else that was involved in this decision? Will Robert Barchi give them a second chance to gain his trust, or do they also have to go?
Well, you've already lost the lead counselor of the university, who was in an interim position anyway, so he had resigned already. And I think you're going to go through the chain of commands. One thing that really stood out was, forget from an athletic level right now, when you look at this as the school as a whole, seems that President Barchi does have the support of the Board of Governors, and that's big because, look, athletics is what drives the machine as far as PR is concerned, but the university is so much more than that, and that's where their focus is because they have a big merger coming up.
Exactly. A lot is important here other than athletics. You have to look at this merger coming up, and it's really going to make or break Rutgers University, is the perception from a lot of people. Yes, Rutgers athletics is where the image comes from, but the real education aspect is what's most important here. And I didn't think Tim Pernetti should have been fired. I've written as much. I feel the same way about Robert Barchi, that Rutgers needs him to stay and needs him to lead Rutgers into this merger that is going to change this university.
Not only change the university, but also, the whole community and all of New Jersey, you would think, with what Rutgers does mean as a whole. And I agree, I don't think Tim Pernetti should have been fired, but I also understand where President Barchi's coming from. You have to have somebody that you trust will be making great decisions and decisions that you can support and will not result in national outrage and just the Rutgers name being dragged through the mud across the nation and probably globally with the way things are these days. To me, again, I understand where President Barchi's coming from and his stance. It doesn't matter whether I agree with it or not because it's what happened. Moving forward, though, you need an athletic director, you need a basketball coach. Where do you go from here, and what kind of time frame do you think we're looking at?
I think that you saw from the way the questioning went down today that nationally there's going to be a strong call for everything to come from outside of this program. There were a lot of questions about the fact that Dave Cox is interim head coach. Now, that came from people that probably don't understand the college athletics process. That's what happens when a coach gets fired. But I think that obviously first you have to look for your new athletic director, and you have to find someone that is morally on the same ground as Robert Barchi, that he believes he can trust with taking care of athletic responsibilities. Robert Barchi says he'll be more involved in athletics after this and has learned a lesson from his unwillingness to see the tape until this week. But Rutgers needs to find both an athletic director and a basketball coach that are going to completely separate themselves and repair an image that has been severely tarnished in the last 72 hours.
No, I agree. And, I know a lot of people are probably saying, why didn't he view the tape? Why didn't he view the tape? Well, that was asked several times, and he said he didn't really know why he didn't view the tape. But one thing I can tell you is it was clear that Barchi thought that Tim Pernetti then should have hand-delivered the DVD of it to make sure he watched it. Moving forward, I don't see how it can be somebody who would be associated with the athletic program for the last 3 years. It's been a pretty stable athletic program for 3 years, so I don't know where you would find anybody like that anyway. You're going to pull somebody from outside for your basketball coach, and as far as your athletic director, you're going to open up a national search and get somebody in place quickly. Everybody wonders, how does this impact the Big Ten? It doesn't impact the Big Ten, to be honest. That has no relevance on any of this stuff. They're still going to the Big Ten. It'll still be for the 2014 athletic season. But, just in closing, though, what do you take from this whole firestorm of 4 days?
I think that things are going to get worse before they can get better. And by that, I mean Rutgers athletes, everyone associated with this athletic program, they're furious right now. People are talking about canceling their season tickets, giving their donations to other schools. There's going to be a lot of loud noises and a lot of unhappiness coming out of a very vocal portion of Rutgers University. But you know what? Eventually, an athletic director is going to come in place. It's going to be someone that's going to do a good job, and Rutgers is going to have to find a way to repair its image.
They are, and I agree. And in closing, I'll just say that there was an equal outcry when Bob Mulcahy lost his job as athletic director. People rallied around Tim Pernetti, and as much as it hurts, people that know Tim Pernetti and are close to him, and people that followed Tim, there will be healing. It will go on. They will move forward. They'll get an athletic director. They'll get a new basketball coach, and it's going to take some time to get over this process. But I would imagine within a couple years, if Rutgers does things right, this will not be as big a deal as people are making out right now. Just as far as the change in leadership and athletics, it will always be a big deal, though, of how Mike Rice treated his players.